Ready? Okay. Now, Paul.
Gino and
Everybody.
Okay, all right. Good afternoon and welcome to the Monday, May 10th, 2021 hearing of the Macon-Bibb County Planning and Zoning Commission. By now, staff has informed you that you must sign in if you wish to address the commission, including the applicant and their representative. If you have not signed in and intend to testify, please do so now. If several people are interested in an item, it will be helpful if you will coordinate your testimony at the beginning and allow one or two spokespersons to represent similar concerns to avoid duplication of information. At the beginning of the meeting, all persons who have signed in to testify will be required to stand, raise their right hand, and give an oath to tell the truth. Persons seeking to testify who have not given such an oath at the beginning of this meeting will be required to do so prior to their testimony. When an item is called, the applicant shall take a seat at the table, state their name and address for the record, and give their presentation, providing as much detail as necessary. After the applicant's presentation, persons speaking in favor of an application will be given an opportunity to speak, followed by those who are opposed. Each side is allowed up to 10 minutes to make their presentation. That is 10 minutes per side, not per person. The applicant will have 3 minutes for rebuttal if requested. Additional time may be awarded equally for both sides if the commission determines an extension is justified. Redundant or irrelevant testimony or questioning may be limited or terminated by the chair. The timer located at the presenter's seat is used to monitor the proceedings. The green light, when lit, indicates time is available to proceed with your presentation. The yellow light indicates there is 1 minute remaining, and lastly, the red light indicates time has expired. When addressing the commission, please speak clearly and directly into the microphone, as these proceedings are being recorded. Each time you return to address the commission, please restate your name for the record. After hearing both sides and after any questioning, the commission will go into deliberations and vote on the application. We ask that the audience remain quiet during the hearing and respect the dignity of these proceedings. At this time, we ask everyone in attendance to turn off or silence all cell phones or other electronic devices. We have a full commission here today, so there's no issue with voting. Let's see. Jim, any agenda changes for today?
We do have several changes. Item 1 at 372 Spring Street, we have moved that for ratification. Item 2 at 534 Bartlett Street, that's been moved to ratification. Number 3, 535 College Street, that's been deferred. The Design Review Board deferred that item, and we'll see that again in 2 weeks. Item 4 at 995 Key Street, that's been moved to ratification as well. So we're here at number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Okay. Is there anyone here who wants to defer or withdraw an application? Okay, gentlemen, I need approval of the minutes.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the previous meeting minutes.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second by Brian and Josh to approve the minutes of our previous meeting. All in favor say aye. All opposed? So carried. Okay, Sheila?
Good afternoon. If you're here to address the commission, please stand and raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence that you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do. Thank you.
We'll hear item number
5. 2151 Wesleyan Drive, 5773 and 5753 Arkwright Road. This is a rezoning from agricultural to C1 neighborhood commercial district. This is for a professional office. Stephen Rowland with Rowland Engineering is the applicant.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephen Rowland. I'm with Rowland Engineering. May I do this? My office is at 318 Corporate Parkway, Suite 301, Macon, Georgia, 31210. This is an application to rezone 3 parcels from agricultural to C1 for the purpose of constructing a professional office building for Progressive Group, formerly Progressive Communications. Progressive Communications is an IT software company that currently has space in a gateway building downtown Macon, and they also have another office location or a storage space on Corporate Parkway, which is right next door to my office. They would like to combine both of those uses, their office and their storage area, into one professional office space, as shown on the conceptual site plan that we submitted with the application. During the advertisement period, we were notified that there was some concern from the neighbors of Stagecoach Estates, which is directly to the north of the property there. Some of those houses you can see in the aerial photograph. So we attended a community meeting to meet with the residents there, and as a result of those meetings, there was a main concern that the property on Wesleyan Drive, the corner lot, was a house until a while back. It burned down and has been removed. But there was some concern that the corner lot not be developed at this time, and not be developed as a commercial use. So I have emailed Randy a revision to our request, and we have revised the legal description of the property we wish to rezone to remove a 200-foot swath right there where she's pointing, so that corner lot will remain agricultural. And my client wishes not to develop or pursue any type of rezoning for that. And also, there was a concern with zoning to C1 that if something happened to my client and he does not go through with his development, that there were some uses in the C, permitted uses in the C1 that the neighbors were concerned with. So as a concession, we also revised our request to zone to planned development commercial PDC, which would also come with a conditional use for the professional office. So that any changes or any revision to the proposed use would have to come back to this board for approval in the future. We see that the staff's recommendation, and they're looking at the criteria for rezoning, states that our request meets all the criteria, and they've given us a favorable recommendation. Therefore, we ask for your approval, and along with the revisions that we submitted to rezone PVC 7.17 acres on Arkwright Road, removing the 1.65 acre corner parcel from the request that's on Wesleyan Drive. Be glad to answer any questions.
And what size is that 1.65, the new?
1.65 is being removed so that the property to be rezoned would be 7.17 acres.
Basically, this one then will begin to look like the other two adjacent to it.
I don't know if Randy provided, I
haven't seen that yet. So this morning I had like 60.
have some copies of the plan that shows the corner piece being removed.
Okay.
And
I know this is jumping the gun, but is this a 1 or 2 story building?
it would be 2 story.
It's roughly going to be on 10.
Yes. Progressive is a professional office that operates during the day. They do not have retail sales or any customers. So the only people coming there would be the employees. We show a loading dock in the back, but that's mainly for their receiving of materials, and that's mainly spools of wire, Ethernet cables, that type of stuff that they install. So these are not products or distribution type warehouse. This is storage of their materials for their installations. They do networks for companies like Geico. So they do larger networks installations. They expect only 1 to 2 deliveries per week of materials, so very little truck traffic.
Ellen?
Emma. Department.
Pardon?
For questions?
I'm asking for questions from the.
Okay. How, do you have design on how they're gonna, landscape the remainder? It looks like about 3 or 4 acres that's gonna go out toward west end and down to Arkwright.
Right now, the plan is to leave that all undisturbed. The topography behind off of Westwood Drive is pretty drastic. There's a drainage way that comes through there.
Yeah.
Our plan is to leave that alone and to leave it.
So we're gonna put the building.
That's correct. That's really the only place that we plan to clear at this time.
What's the distance? I see some buffer in the back there. What is the distance from the back parking lot to the property line back there?
There's a 100-foot natural gas easement in line back there.
Okay, that no one can serve.
That's right. We've got to stay off of that. And then right now we're showing the building to be 200 feet. See the swimming pool, that property line right there, we're showing the building to be 200 feet from that property line. And our plan is to leave as much of that wooded and undisturbed as we can.
Stephen, when did you send that email so I could pull it up?
That's all he's got.
This morning.
Okay.
Or actually, no, yesterday afternoon. I was working on Sunday. Sorry.
That's okay.
He's front undisturbed and with a sign that kind of leads people. Where the sign is.
Sign up will be down on Arkwright,
Now,
by the entrance, yes.
okay. But the plan is to leave most of this undisturbed.
That's correct.
Sort of hidden back there.
That is a pretty large drainage way, and a pipe that comes underneath Arkwright Road. Rain's pulling up the latest plan with that.
I was trying to, I'm having an issue. Did it come from you or did it come from Ann?
Came from me.
The problem is
It was in yesterday, late yesterday.
late yesterday. You're in my junk mail.
It's right down here.
That's correct.
Yeah, I saw that. You can see the.
I'm not seeing it in my emails.
Right down here. is where the line
That's
is.
what I'm set up that spike to the.
Yeah. It runs up that way.
Yeah, that's the company, there's a pipe also on the west end.
Okay,
The drainage way kind of comes through here.
I got you.
So basically, the end result of all that is that this building, this is the only place that building will go on that property and provide parking and.
That's correct, and that's the only use we plan right now is professional office. Therefore, the change to PDC.
All right, then we got anything else? So far? All right, we got anyone else to speak?
We do, we have 2 people to speak.
Scott Chambers.
There's a print of that email.
And one more that wants to sign up. Thank you, but I can't find it.
Okay, how many people do we have?
I think 3.
3? Okay, you have 10 minutes. So if you take off 10 minutes, I don't get to speak.
All 3 get 10 minutes?
Now,
All of us together.
all 3 of you together have 10 minutes.
Right.
You might want gonna divide it up, which is 3.33 minutes
I'm Scott Chambers, I live at the property with the swimming pool, 2167 West End Drive. You know, I know growth is coming. With the amount of commercial property I see that's vacant at the moment, I'm sort of wondering why it's being put right in my backyard. But, you know, I'm not opposed to working with this company to, you know, just find a happy medium. But the only thing I hear now is proposed, and I know that PVC, I'm not with, I don't know what that actually entails, but it's
It's a commercial use, but anything that you do has to come back to this commission for approval.
it's good.
Yeah.
And, you know, the buffer, the 50-foot buffer that's proposed right here, right now, you see, it looks like trees, but it's actually shade trees. There's no trees in that 50-foot buffer. So, you know, they decided to clear cut all the land that's behind the buffer, you know, then I'll be looking at 2-story office there, and I'll go out and have it. So, you know, I know one of the conditions, zoning criteria was, you know, whether the zoning proposal will adversely affect the existing use or usability of adjacent property. You know, walking out in my backyard, getting the swimming pool, and looking at a 2-story building, I think that adversely affects not only my lifestyle, I guess you could say, but, you know, also the marketability if I ever decide to sell this place. And that wasn't what I really thought about and planned about when we bought the property. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not opposed to it. I would like to see some more concrete stuff as to what's going to be a greenery, what's going to be that greenery, and you know, some sort of assurance that I'm not going to look at a 2-story office building all about that.
Thank you very much. Next,
Julie Bragg?
We have a neighborhood watch.
name and address, please.
Oh, Julie Bragg, 2311 West Main Drive.
Okay.
So we're actually around the corner. We won't see this from our property, but what I think most people in this part of the state don't know, we live in what was originally Holton, Georgia. That is a little township, one of the earliest ones in this part of the country, in this part of the state. And we would like to, and we understand that it's all gonna be surrounded by commercial property. We moved out there 45 years ago, and the last place was development on Northside Drive. It was all woods at that place, but we really want to protect our neighbors. Scott, the chambers seem to be the most threatened at the moment because this is coming right into their backyard, and we think that of all the things that can go back there, probably a quiet office, 9 to 5, weekday, closed weekends, is about the best we can hope for. But we really were nervous about that 1.5 acres on West End. We would like nothing on our little leg, our little pocket of residential property to have its opening as a piece of commercial property. And so we appreciated their approach to meet with us. Some of our neighbors were there, but all of this pocket, we really appreciated how many of them came to our meeting. And it seemed that after a discussion of hearing what we were most concerned about, we know we can't stop this commercial development that's coming out there, but that we really wanted to protect Westland, our side of it, and the poor people on the opposite side of Westland. Their backyards are Riverside Drive. So we know they'll be able to see the yellow line on Riverside and hear everything that goes on in the future. I feel sorry for them, and I don't know. So we wanted to learn how to deal with these zoning changes as they came, knowing we have very little power. But we do feel like we have power on our street, maybe, by joining together and stating our wishes. So it looks like the system may work mutually beneficially to them and to us if they do what they say they're going to do. If they leave that 1.5 acres, I don't know how much frontage foot that is on Wesleyan Drive, but that was Lillian Gardner's property. That house was built in the early 1900s. Our property was developed in 1876. Stagecoach Estates is named because the stagecoach used to stop on our property and go down to the ferry to cross into Jones County. But it's very historical community participating. But anyway, if they would leave Lillian Gardner's property natural on the Wesleyan side, and if they kept it some agriculture or somehow not let it go commercial, if they protect it, or that we get notified anytime some breach is done on that piece of property, then I don't see how we have much. I'm disappointed to hear the building is a 2-story building. I didn't know that. And I don't know if it's all 2-story or just a portion of it. But I was hoping it was a 1-story building. I didn't know it was 2. But
All right.
anyway, I know there's somebody else that wants to speak, but
Okay,
thank you.
all right, thank you. Next.
Marion
Fisher.
Marion Disher?
How many minutes do I have?
Did you, were you in here when we were swearing in?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, Sheila?
If you raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear that the evidence that you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay,
As far as online information goes.
Name and address, please, name for the record.
Thank you. There is,
Name and address.
I'm sorry.
Your name, just in the microphone.
Whatever you are, but we gotta get it on the record, that's fine.
Marion Disher, 5683 Charles Drive.
Now,
Thank you. We've been there 30 years. There's a cemetery that's just on the other side, behind the Chambers house. I don't think it's part of what y'all have sectioned off. But this cemetery is from 1840. And the founder, the person, Tarpley Holt, who owned that, Major Tarpley Holt, it's his family. He was in the first legislator from our county. He also funded and helped get funding for Mulberry Methodist Church, which is the first Methodist church in Macon. So he's basically a founder of our Methodist churches. And we're in the process of trying to find a church group, Boy Scouts, some group to come in and help clean it up, get the monuments back in place, so that people can visit it. Not to, I don't want to interfere with your property, but to leave it in a wooded, natural state and have it, it seems we should not be able to let that not go unnoticed by a lot of people once they know who he is or was. And
Is this it?
can
can you look? Okay. I haven't seen it. I have pictures of it from where one of the neighbors found it. Just because of the history, and our neighborhood apparently was also named after him. It seems important for the county. So if there's a way y'all can maybe give us a little bit more space to, because I don't think that's incorporated in your Butler area. But I'm not sure. That it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I was looking to the plat.
It's a self-perpetuating, huh?
Yeah.
So I see we're ants and stuff.
That it?
Yes, ma'am.
Ethan? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Steve, you have an opportunity to comment.
Thank you. Stephen Rowland, 318 Corporate Parkway. We were aware of the cemetery, and it is in the area that we plan to buffer and stay away from. We are willing to increase the buffer if we would that would please the commission. Right now, we're showing a 50-foot buffer around along the residential or ag, I guess it's agriculturally zoned property to the north. Not sure what the distance would definitely willing to go 75 feet. I'm not sure. Looking at the aerial photograph, you can see the older aerial photographs that were on the screen. You can see that the area is kind of devoid of vegetation for the first 50 feet. So I can understand his concern that even the 50-foot buffer may not protect his property. So we're willing to increase that to 75 feet.
Steve, do they own this property yet?
No. This property is owned by Storage Master, so it's under contract by my client.
Okay, all right. But they're gonna buy all of this.
That's correct. 8.6 acres. I believe the tax records indicated 8.2 or 8.4. The recent survey that we had done indicates it's 8.6 acres.
So that little cemetery is shown on there.
That's the original 1955 boundary survey.
Right, and it had a 10-foot easement across what is probably the chamber's property to access it.
But
So,
it's pretty much at the corner of the chamber's property and right there in the corner. So we had proposed 50 feet. So we'll increase that to 75 to buffer the residential property and the cemetery.
Is that the older area?
That's the over area. You see that kind of clear area right there behind the swimming pool?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. We can increase the buffer there to make sure we get some trees into that buffer area.
But Southern Natural Gas keeps that clear.
That's correct. Yeah, that's Southern Natural Gas Pipeline or natural gas pipeline. And we've got the substation on the other side of us.
Steve, can I ask, a couple things? Is your location of the building, is it flexible as well? Could you shift the building a little bit?
Yes, the main concern I have is we're going to need a septic system.
Okay.
So I'm trying to leave some space. And it gets low. That dark green area is a drainage way coming through the property.
Right.
So I can't get too far forward with it. I'll get into that drainage area.
Yeah, I was speaking more,
Now,
moving it a little bit,
I don't know if you've seen the exhibit that I submitted for zoning is different than the latest plan. The latest plan, I have moved it over
Okay, yeah.
20 feet from the property line.
Okay.
Or,
And that's the latest one?
that's the one, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's closer to
Yes, I have.
Southern, yeah.
Yes.
So that distance now from the chamber's property is?
The building is 200 feet from the chamber property line.
Okay. I want to make sure that we're getting clear on the record here. Your client is he's not rezoning the corner of the property to 1 acres. But he's not saying it won't be developed.
He's going to buy it, he's going to own it.
Right.
But he has, because of the topography, the drainage, the neighbors' concerns, he has a plan to develop it.
Okay. But it's not going to be a reserve or anything. At some point, somebody could develop it if they want to spend money.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
We're going to rezone all three, the proposal is to rezone all 3 parcels to PDC.
Well,
he removed that.
he with what he submitted, the most current, he's taken out that corner and he's gonna leave that as agricultural. So he's
At
only,
200 by 200?
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
Roughly, yes.
Roughly,
It's
yeah.
200 by 300, I believe.
Yeah.
yeah. So with that change, they're taking out that acreage and we'll leave it as agricultural
Okay.
and then go for PDC on the remainder.
So that acre goes on west of the drive that you have.
Right. I just want to make clear that he's not proposing that corner to be a undeveloped reserve.
That's correct.
Or an out parcel or anything like that, it's just.
He has no plans for it. Any use would have to come back for rezoning.
Except when it's available by right for.
Right.
And
And it's still part of the same property, it's just gonna be a split parcel zone, everything that portion will have. PDC.
Yeah, that was gonna be a question for you guys, how we handle that. I mean, is there a survey needed? Is there a?
we just need to know where that line is.
Yeah, just for a while.
That I did provide a revised legal description to describe the area we're requesting for rezoning.
Right, and the plat to combine it, and just show the demarcation lines.
A recorded plat wouldn't hurt.
You know. Oh, they will, they're gonna record
Well, yeah.
the whole combined
Yeah,
anyway.
That survey,
Showing that.
yeah, that survey she showed from 1955, we're definitely updating the survey.
Well, I mean, just showing that that is a separate zoning for that corner.
I think that can be shown on the plat.
It'll have to be on the plat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just want to make sure it's shown on the plat.
Where,
Same few that didn't. Well, they were wrong. Okay.
so water authority does not service this.
Yes, no, sewer,
Okay.
with water.
Just water.
So there's public water on the other side of Arkwright Road. We will access. There's no sewer access in this area. It's close, but it's not easy to get to.
So where are your plans to put the septic?
The septic field would be in front of the parking lot, in that area between the parking lot, on the lower side of the building.
Oh, okay.
And luckily, an office use does not require an extensive septic system.
It's minor use.
That's right. It'd be surprised, I mean, if it were fast food or something like that, I don't know if that would work because the septic system requirement would be too large.
Yeah.
An office use is, I think it's 25 gallons per day per person. Which ends up being about the same size as a residential septic system.
The replacement area is in the same area.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, any more questions?
Because this is PDC, do we have to approve like the building?
It'll have to come back to that.
Yeah,
This is just.
if you go with PDC, this would be the first step of what is really a two-step or three-step process.
So we need to come back for the conditional use, is that correct?
Yeah, and so they will, if they move to rezone it, then, this will be your conceptual plan.
Right.
That you submitted. And then you've got to come back for the final site layout, conditional use, and the building design.
Is that staff level, or would that have to come back for condition?
And then, assuming that's approved, then all the site details will be left to staff.
Okay.
24th or 15th?
Do you have a regulator or anything?
No.
14th?
June?
Yeah.
That should be, yeah, should be possible. Do I need to send in another application or?
We'll get with
Okay.
Okay. All right. No more questions? Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any discussion?
So increasing the buffer to 75 feet.
I think you're ready to deal with it now because it'll be back.
Right.
Well,
I'd rather get this on the record.
you need to establish at this stage what his
Is expected.
limits are, is,
Yeah, what's the area gonna be?
Yeah.
And you know, I'm just looking at this, eventually, the part that comes down the side of, his building, his property, to the cemetery, is that something that the gas company could keep clear?
Probably, it's not showing on there, it's showing here, just on this
The
area.
reason I asked that looks kind of thin through there, and it may be that,
I think that's a water line,
okay,
don't you?
Drainage.
Something.
the drainage ditch.
Steve,
That top portion, there's 100 feet wide, top portion, that's the gas main.
What's the one
What I'm
down
wondering
behind it?
about is this right here.
Go.
And I see a tree right here, but as, this property owner was saying, that may get a little thin through
That's his
there.
water line. That's a power line,
And,
that's his power service line.
okay,
She's talking about this area right here behind the pool.
Okay. That's the power, that's the power line coming right through here.
I don't want to speak for the landowner, but it looks like he may be the one maintaining that. I doubt the gas main is.
Well, it was buried, more or less a year. But he was a revolutionary soldier, and they were looking.
okay. Is there any more discussion or any more clarification we need to make on this?
My problem is, like Mr. Chambers said, there's plenty of available commercial space. It stinks to me to convert a greenfield to this use, especially this intensity in this location, but I think it's just a failure of our current code. And so I think this is the best we can probably do with the proposal we can get. Just think something else someone's going to be making, and that's on the white list, make sure we'll be tearing it down.
Do I have a motion then?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, that we approve a rezoning at, 151 West Main Drive, 5773 and 5753 Arkwright Road, agriculture to a PDC.
Except for,
Except for the 200 by, you say 300?
I think it's, I can't read that word.
200 by 300 feet of land in the corner, which will remain agricultural. It will also have a 75-foot conserved buffer, that is waiting ready for the property.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Motion comes from Brian, second comes from Josh to approve rezoning from ag to C1 and 57. PDC at 5773 and 5753 Arkwright Road, reserving the corner 200 by 300 approximately to ag and creating a 75-foot buffer as shown on this survey here. All in favor say aye. All opposed, so carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item will be number 6, 2500 Sherling Drive, conditional use of a funeral home in a C1 district. Dunwoody, Beeland, Henderson, I just aged myself, Dunwoody, Beeland Architects.
Good afternoon, Gene Dunwoody Jr., 1328 Old Forsyth Road in Macon. Thanks for letting us be here today, and I'm pleased to present this project for Richard R. Robinson Funeral Home and Cremation Services. Mr. Robinson is in the back of the room here. He is a very successful young mortician here in town. Has bought the old Crestview on Pine Avenue and also has a really successful center down in Providence. So felt like there was a need for a new facility in East Macon, and we searched all over and found this site on Sherman Drive. It's an 8-acre parcel that he plans to buy 4 acres of it. To the left of the property when you're looking at it is a vacant site, and then you've got the filling station, I guess, on the other side of that. This is a survey of the property. It does have some fairly steep topography, and so what we're trying to do is it's a 7,250 square foot building. It'll be in that area that you are circling right now, and it'll have a chapel that will seat 140 people, and then we have a repast area for events and the standard requirements that the state requires for funeral homes. The cremation work will be done off-site, but they will be preparatory in the facility as well. Simple kind of residential construction, wood frame, brick, metal roof, shingle roof right now. No worry about wood prices, but that has nothing to do with y'all today. It's kind of insane what's happening right now. But I think it's a really nice project. We have a good buffer around the neighborhood that's in the rear area, and we'll have extensive landscaping on the property. We have some challenges just working with the state on, this is a state highway, so there will be a deceleration lane. And that is affecting how we site the property. There is some drainage coming through the property. We've got to do some more engineering. If we do change the site plan, of course, we propose that we bring that back and ask for staff approval. You see there's a drainage, there's an easement, as you're showing right there with that line that's got the sewer easement for the neighborhood in the rear. Try to stay away from the back of the property as much as possible. And we'll grade, we'll set the side of the building as high as possible so that we don't disturb the rear very much, and then we'll just terrace everything down. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'd like to shift that entrance. I know I've got a couple of designers that are on the, y'all think you're designers, I know, on the zoning board, and I want to shift that entrance back to the right a little bit, but we're having some issues with that, working with the DOT. So if I did make any changes, I would want to come back and shift this down and create a little more impactful entrance on the property. Also have Mark Rowland here. He's with Hope's Bobby. He's the new George Greer. That's what I heard. He's normal size, better looking. And he's here today, and I just want to introduce him because he'll be coming to y'all in future projects. So, there any questions? See, short people can make fun of short people. That's okay.
And tall people can make fun of you, so.
Yeah, it's a easy project.
Not that anybody's ever done that.
No. Are there any questions?
Gentlemen?
What's there's a church across the street, is that?
Yes, and I think Mr. Robinson had some conversations with, we tried to, y'all require 40 parking spaces, and we've got 140, but, when you have a big funeral, as we've seen, we do have some challenges. And Richard, I think you have spoken with the church across the street.
I did. I actually, at one point, was negotiating buying a lot next to them, and for different reasons that did not work out. But I have a pretty good working relationship with the pastor that is currently pursuing the position.
We spent a lot of time looking for properties. We were trying to buy the school on Millerfield Road, if y'all remember the one. I think you were over before. Yeah, we just couldn't work it out with Mr. Eli. But we think this is a really good use for the property, and I hope you will.
That's a hard area for there to find something that fits.
It really is, and there's a need out there, and there's a lot of traffic. It'll be we want the building to have a nice presence on the street, and we'll continue to work on the design and improve it.
Okay, gentlemen, got any questions? Anyone else to speak?
Nope.
All right, y'all have any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve a conditional use to allow funeral home in the C1 district at 2500 Sherman Drive.
All right, we have a motion made by Josh to approve a conditional use to allow a funeral home in the C1 district at 2500 Sherman Drive, and seconded by Josh. Tim, excuse me. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So carried.
Thank y'all.
That's it.
Appreciate it. We couldn't work the deal out. We asked them to give us the property plan.
Yeah.
It's got some environmental concerns, so we bought it if he could get it cleaned up. And he said, "Oh, that's no problem." So that is a good sign, and something needs to happen with it.
I agree.
Okay, thank y'all.
See you guys.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, it's Elon designer.
What?
It's Elon designer.
Yeah.
Where's the problem?
I know.
Okay, next item, number 7, 4841 Harmon Place. This is a variance to flat property that won't run on public right of way. The Agricultural District, and Adrian Harmon, the applicant.
Good afternoon, everyone. Adrian Harmon, 719 Columbus Road, Lázaro, Georgia. The property in question,
He's getting there.
I'm trying to get there, I'm sorry.
If I may.
I'm gonna
Basically, this is my granddad's, home before he passed away, and my uncle owned this property, and what we're looking to do is cut out approximately, right about, 1.5 acres of land here from my uncle who lives in North Carolina, but he comes down and the rest of the property is separated from that in that respect. And the issue was, I'm dealing with Dallas and Garrett, and Jim said it might be an issue because of access, because of the circle, and that's why I'm here.
All right.
Basically, Reed Circle's not a public road.
Yeah, that's what it
Here's
is.
a public road if they had to get fire emergency, it was in its arm in place, right?
yeah, and Laurel Green, but it's at the other end. There's no way to get to it.
Yeah, see, in Harmon Place, when you're coming down Harmon Drive, Harmon Place essentially turns to a dirt road. So yeah, if one of the larger vehicles were to come down through, probably get stuck. But Reed Circle, it's straight in and it's a great road, but clearly it's not public right away. I mean, it's public access or a county road, so that's the issue.
Is it paved?
No,
No,
sir.
it's dirt.
Reed Circle's not paved?
No, sir.
Okay.
What's the theoretical issue, Jim? I mean, like, we have a duty to public health and safety, is that it?
That's it. I mean,
Make
it's-
sure that nobody lives in a place where they're dooming themselves to.
Right. It's access for emergency vehicles, basically, police, fire, you know.
And, that connects to, what is that?
From Reed Circle, it goes,
It's not Road and
it goes all the way to Pleasant Grove.
Pleasant Grove.
all right, so,
Church.
Yeah, it comes back into Bethel Church eventually.
As I was saying earlier, Josh, the house is already there.
Right.
So, I mean, all we're doing is putting it on a piece of property, so, you're not making it worse as far as.
It's just what happens with the rest of it.
It retains the same zoning, just in two different parcels.
But the only thing they need to be concerned about, if future development, you have to put in some kind of effort.
Yeah, we're looking to keep it as, I think it's currently zone A5 agriculture right now.
It's just agriculture.
And it's gonna remain that way, yes, sir.
okay, well, it looks like that regardless of whether it's a public right of way or not, it's being used, reads.
Oh, every day, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, there may be a squatter's right
Mhm.
to that, but otherwise, you would need to get an easement crossed over the property to be legal anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anybody else to speak?
No, ma'am.
All right, gentlemen, do you have any questions or you want to make a motion?
Yeah, Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve a variance to plat property not fronting a public right of way at 4841 Harmon Place.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Brian and a second by Josh to approve a variance to plat property not fronting on a public right of way in an ag district at 4841 Harmon Place. And I want to get on the record that any development or reuse of the remaining property would have to come back for approval.
Well, can I ask this question since I'm here? It will remain agricultural, but I'm looking to put some cattle on it.
Cattle?
Yes,
Okay.
that's really the issue.
There's no issue there.
There's no issue.
All right,
It's perfectly zoned.
all in favor, say aye. All opposed, so carried. All right, thank you very much.
Email you.
Okay, thank you.
Done with us.
All right, excellent. All right, y'all have a good one.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item involves two applications at 5719 Jeffersonville Road. There's a conditional use to allow a telecommunications tower in an ag district and a variance in the setback requirements for that tower. Tillman Infrastructure, and Tower Source are the applicants.
Good afternoon. Do we do both variance and special use, or do we have to do it separately?
No.
Okay.
All right, name and address, please.
Name is Andy Lowe. Address is 1080 Holcomb Bridge Road, Roswell, Georgia 30076. Tillman Infrastructure, or I'm with Tower Source, and I'm working with Tillman Infrastructure to build a 250-foot self-support tower at 5719 Jeffersonville Road in Dry Branch. We'll also have a 10-foot lightning rod at the top. Some places just look at the top of the tower, some places look at everything overall. So if you have a lightning rod, 260 feet. There is a fully executed lease with the landowner, Mr. Curry, for a 100-foot by 100-foot area towards the back of the compound, or towards the back of the property. There'll be a 12-foot wide access road for the tower going to Jeffersonville Road. And the tower itself will have available co-location spots for a total of 4 antennas. The highest, most antenna space is reserved for AT&T, the anchor carrier. It will also, there will be a fencing along the compound, the 8-foot high, minimum 8-foot high chain link fence with anti-climbing devices and security devices. And then there'll be landscaping surrounding the fenced area, which includes 28 Leland cypress trees and 60 smaller trees that I can't pronounce the name. AT&T has deemed this area as inadequate for network coverage. There should be propagation maps in the packet, but basically you can see there's these maps that are yellow and red.
I'll get to it.
I have some here too. And basically, what happens is that's where AT&T has coverage, and then all of a sudden, so it looks like this. I'm not sure who can control the computer.
I got me.
But it looks like this. The orange and yellow areas are where there is coverage for AT&T. Blue and green is where there's not adequate coverage or no coverage. And the site is direct in the middle of this map. If the tower is built, then as you see, there's more of a yellow and orange area for where that coverage will come from AT&T. And as stated in the application, there are no other towers or co-location capabilities in this area. The nearest tower is 2.2 miles away, which is too far for co-location to bring coverage to this area. And then, so that's the conditional use permit to be able to build a tower on this area. This parcel is zoned for agricultural. As for the variances, the first one is that there's a residential structure on the property. It is 347 feet 9 inches away. The parcel somewhat to the northwest is about 170 feet 8 feet away from the proposed tower. The one towards the south is 76 feet and change below away from the proposed tower. And then the parcel towards the back of the property is over 244 feet from the proposed tower location. We got signed letters from the property owner, one to show that he approved of a tower being, or there's a residential structure on the parcel. We do have Tillman has a fully executed lease, so obviously that was one of the simpler things to get signed. We also got one of the neighbors to sign that they approve of the tower being basically next to their property.
Is it this one?
Which one is that?
It is 5551. So I'll tell you, there's one property. It seems like these are the first people who are in residence. I don't think they are the actual owner. And then at 5729, we were not able to get in contact with Mr. Whitley. I sent certified, first thing I did was I sent certified mail to each of the adjacent property owners based on the tax assessor record. Not all property owners live on their property, so we sent it to what's listed there. I received no comments. Not always the worst thing, not always the best thing. So then we sent the property owner, Mr. Curry, to the residences to see if he could get them. He was able to get from Mr. Curtis Lee Johnson, and that is actually on property 5741. The ones kind of like if you're looking at it like that, kind of southeast. The property behind is Stone Creek Partners. Several times over the past few weeks, I contacted both their Las Vegas and Los Angeles numbers on their website. I left messages. I tried to push 0 for operator to get a live person. I can never get a live person. I also sent several emails trying to find who's in charge of the Southeast, Macon area, Georgia area. I never got a response, so it's kind of one of those fill in the blanks on the website. I didn't have an actual email. So we tried to contact them, but I never received anything from them for Stone Creek Partners to the back. And then the final part about the tower design is that it's designed to buckle. So when you look at the different properties in 178 feet away, 76 feet away, 244 feet away, all of them are under 260 feet. So the tower will be designed it's designed up to 110 mile per hour winds, which is not a typical storm in Macon. They said basically if something were to make the tower structure go down, it would buckle, basically split down rather than tip over. So basically the max it'll go is 75 feet to the distance around the proposed tower line. That's all I can think of right now.
How far is it from the top base of the tower to that?
So we did not get that from the survey because we were going to have to try to get through there. But again, to the house, just kind of like just a little to the west of there, where the property line is 347 feet away, and a few inches.
But in your presentation in the staff report, you talk about the fire ratio and like 2 different scenarios, one without ice and the other with ice.
Yes.
So you said the one with ice is not far on the adjacent property.
Yes, it's in the it's a tower and foundation report, tower design report. Basically, it's designed to tip like half, do this top third tip over rather than the scary scenario where everybody thinks the whole tower.
The situation you said would tip over the buffer.
Yeah, there's good buffer. It's a 75-foot max. It's designed not to tip over.
I understand the buffer. My question is that it was buffer in the situation with ice on it, no ice on it, it would not fall on the adjacent property.
Yes. It'll stay on the property, on the parent parcel. That's how it's designed. It says that it brought up the ice. It says such an extreme event, and then it brings up with no ice. So with the ice, it would have to be looked at further. But again, it's designed. It looks like this from Saber Industries.
I'm trying to get to it.
So I read with ice.
We don't know.
You don't know.
I'm trying to get to the one from Saber.
There's too many forms. You got 285 pages.
That's what I'm looking at.
You said one of them you have signed on a rental dot property on.
Pardon me?
Is that a support your application?
Yes, it's from Mr. Curtis Lee Johnson, but from our records it says Sinacori Carissa Sinacori as the owner. basically, he went over there, the one property he found nobody living there. I contacted all numbers we could find on the owner, found nothing. One random, just Google search with the name and just came up with an arrest record. I just Googled like the name, and then I did Georgia, and then I did Macon, I did Dry Branch, and all I got was kind of a newspaper article about an arrest. And then Stone Creek Partners, I looked them up, I found them, I looked at LinkedIn, trying to find anybody for the Southeast, including the emails and phone calls, and there was nobody responded to me. Again, we sent the certified letters and called the registered agent. We tried everything we could, but nobody opposed, but nobody, signed a letter saying they were.
It's sort of a moot point to me whether the existing occupants or property owners can consent, because this is going to be a long-term, if not perpetual tower that, and the rights we've already granted to the owners based on the current zoning. I mean, there's no point for them to check back in if they do decide to reoccupy the property or put up a new house or any of that stuff. All that's available by right. We'll put a tower that, at least based on the current documentation, we can't guarantee won't fall on.
I guess, were there other properties that you looked at would require a variance?
I was not part of the site selection for this. It was actually a different company, and then we inherited from them, so I'm not sure who would all was contacted for this. Usually kind of try to contact everybody within a certain range, and then it's just like this. Some people don't respond. Some people say, I don't want anything, I don't want anything on my property. And then some people say, a lease for the back part of my property, I'd love to have that.
Stone Creek property, that's the words.
Yes. I believe it's Stone Creek Properties LLC.
Partners or?
It is, it's partners.
Partners.
By tax digest.
Well, their registered agent is on Off-White Road, Angel Green.
We contacted everybody that we could.
Did anyone else want to speak?
No.
What do y'all think?
I don't like the fact that, there are houses out there that could fall on. 99.9% probability that it won't, but that one less than 1% chance of it gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't think we would make a decision to, about somebody's property, but not sure if we did a whole, about most of the property, I mean, 25 years from that, just house, so definitely my private, so I'm there,
Kind of like what you're saying, we're living in a time of things that we would never think happen.
Right.
And so you got to stick to some of the.
Tornadoes. We do have tornadoes.
In this case, even the evidence is for the difference by the applicant, the ice issue is not addressed, so it seems like we're taking on liability for something we haven't documented appropriately. Even if everything does turn out okay.
All right, so we don't have anyone else to speak. Got any more questions for the applicant?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we deny the conditional use in the variance at 5719 Jackson Drive to allow communications tower and vary the setback requirements.
All right, we have a motion by Josh and a second by Tim to not approve the conditional use and a variance at 5719 Jeffersonville Road. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh.
And the items of applications.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the ratification items?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the ratification items, including the certificate of appropriateness at 372 Spring Street, the conditional use at 534 Bartlett Street, and the conditional use at 995 East Street.
All right, we have a motion by Josh and a second by Tim to approve the ratification items as listed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so carried. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
And a motion by Brian and a second by Josh to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so carried. Thank you, gentlemen.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I
sir.
think we need to thank Sheila for running around as
Oh,
well.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, the next hearing will be at
See y'all.
City Hall.
What on that?
Well, we've got, Old Mill Road, big rezoning, and we think Hydraulic Street's gonna come back. Oh, and then, Elliott Dunwoody Bondville proposal.
And the rezoning.
You gonna order dinner?
And everything, Bluefield Road for Cass Hatcher for,
Yeah.
River Edge.
So what they want to do there?
Rezone from PDC to PDR to do senior housing.
That doesn't sound that bad. You already heard from other people upset.
No.
Oh, you're just saying everything that's on the agenda, not just the difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just got several rezonings, that was a little unusual, I think we got three rezonings on that.